We need bigger bikes. Bigger than that. Even bigger than that. Yeah, yeah, that's big enough. Okay, so here we have my biker that I've been working on. So this guy is a combination of many different parts and components. To name just a few, we've got a Italieri German World War II bike body. We've got an Italieri German biker legs. Got a Svezia Japanese samurai torso and sword there, making up the bulk of the rider. And of course, at the front, we've got wheels from Camsil Designs, used in this way to make a really big, really hefty biker. So, you might be looking at this and wondering, well, why did you make him so big? I mean, normally bikes are sort of this size. By comparison, they're tiny little small things, like you'd see from the Devil's Run box game. Well, I love the idea of using bits in new and interesting ways. I'd never really tried to make a biker by hand before, so I thought, well, how hard can it be? I mean, really now. And you do see, I mean, in the world of custom bikes, you get a lot of crazy stuff out there. It's not all just standard bikes that have been made pretty. You do get some bikes out there that are a real amalgam of weird bits and pieces. I mean, one of the lovely details I put on this guy. So, if I just stand him up. So instead of having a normal gas tank, I decided, well, why not make it so that the gas tank was like a giant shell, like an artillery shell or something that he's hollowed out and turned into a gas tank, which is really cool. And then, of course, on the other side, you've got an enormous tank of nitrous oxide, so you know he's going to be going fast. So it's one of those, every now and then you look at your bits box and you go, I've got a lot of bits now. I know that I can make something out of all this stuff. And it doesn't always have to be another car, you know. I think bikers are really overlooked when it comes to Gaslands and other miniatures games, because they're not the main show, they're not the main attraction. Everyone's all about the cars. But it's always fun to take a step back and just make something a little different. So that's what this guy is. Now, it did take a few days to put him together. I don't know I don't know if anyone else has ever found this, but when you're working with like Italieri and Svezia and Airfix kits, the kind of the plastic of them, the glue, takes a bit of a while to dry when you're sticking them together, and in some cases can just fall apart. I think it's something to do with the mold release on the actual plastic itself. But I find the best thing to do is just wash the bits before you assemble them. Get some warm soapy water, dip them in, and away you go. But yeah, so you know, it's just a little thing I've been working on. Got lots and lots of little bits on there. I mean, it would take forever for me to go through it all. But yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint this guy up, and then you can see him on a base with all my other bikers. Because the nice thing is, even though he's a big boy, even though he's like the size of a trike, he does actually fit on the bases that I've got for my bikers. So yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? So here he is painted up. So going into this, I had a couple ideas as to how I wanted to paint him. For me, a samurai is typically a sort of bright red armored thing. I decided to paint up his face as an example to have the sort of red demon face, I guess you can describe it as. You know, like one of those Japanese oni type things that the samurai would have over the front of the face with the helmets. Yeah, it was a bit of a learning experience painting this really, because I've painted bikers before, but I think because the majority of this model is just metal, you really have to kind of find the detail where you can, rather than just go, okay, it's all going to be one flat shade of silver and then a few washes and you're done. Like I painted that artillery shell gas tank. I painted that a different color, which is good. And I painted what looks like a little gas canister next to the NOS kit. That's like a little bit from Zynga Industries Auto Kill line. Painted that up yellow. But in terms of painting the figure and trying to get that work with the bike, like the last thing I wanted was for this guy to just look like a cosplayer sat on a really big bike. I wanted it to look relatively reasonable, or as reasonable as you could get for someone who's gone mad in the wasteland. Almost like his samurai armor isn't just bits from a museum. Like he's got some football equipment on there as well. He's got like some padded like torso bits and gloves and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things, but certainly a learning experience. And lots of the details came out nice, like the headlights and the bullet belt at the front. But as you can see, he's based up really nicely, and compared to this larger figure from Devil's Run, this is a Skinner motorbike from one of their different factions they've got for their game. Yeah, he's big. Don't get me wrong. He's a massive bike, but it doesn't look too out of place. I mean, it seems silly to have to sort of stand up for this sort of thing, but I think we've all got it in our minds how big a bike should be and how small it should be, or compared to a car or other bikes. And I'll certainly agree. Like in terms of individual models, making sure the consistency is right, like absolutely massive priority. Like I couldn't stick one of those Camsil design wheels onto one of these bikes. It would just look way out of proportion. But in terms of everything on that bike being the same size and suitable for the rider, yeah, I think it works fine. So you've definitely got like the smaller scale compared to the larger scale. I mean, I wouldn't expect to see lots of these roaming around the wasteland. These are certainly like weird one-off special sort of like raider boss type bikes. But I'll probably make more, to be fair, because it has been fun putting this together. But if we just compare this to a normal sized car for a minute. So here's the Devil's Run biker sat next to a car that I did in one of my previous videos using Camsil design parts. You can see that that's pretty on point. The bike's small compared to the car, there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, you can quickly and easily identify what it is at a distance. Like I don't think anyone's going to be scratching their head and going, "Oh, what's that meant to be? Is that meant to be a buggy or a pickup truck or what's that?" It's like, no, it's a bike. But there's got to be something said about how, in the same way that not all cars are the same, certainly not all bikes are the same. I mean, you look at some of like the police interceptors that are out there, and some of the bigger Harley Davidsons, and then all the weird accessories people do to them, like just the massive gap you can have between the front wheel and the rear wheel. Like, I mean, you can do all sorts of crazy things. So yeah, I don't think it's that much of a problem, especially if you compare it next to larger trucks and cars. And yeah, I think it's fine. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I made some paper banners to go on the back of the biker, painted up some sort of Japanese symbols on either flag. It could be a crown, it might be a word. I don't know what it means, but it might be. Um, so it's yeah, I'm happy with how this guy turned out. I like my Ronin of the Wasteland. I think he's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll probably try making more Wasteland bikes down the line. I'll probably try and go smaller and smaller before making like effectively a little kiddie tricycle. Um, but yeah. And in other news, before I forget, yes, we have finally hit 2,500 subscribers. Well, we've actually hit 2,600 now at the time of recording this video. But I just want to say thank you all for your support. I'm going to keep making videos. I'm going to keep putting content out there as much as I can, as much as my life allows me to. I will be doing another car giveaway to celebrate hitting 2,500. I know some of you are expecting, wait, you hit 2,000 now. Does that mean more free cars? We'll get to that. But yeah, 2,500 we've hit, so I'm going to put some cars in the post out to you guys. I'm going to have a video going up about how I'm going to organise that and arrange it. But needless to say, it won't be like last time where I just pick names out of a hat and then desperately try and find someone who I can actually contact, because most of you guys don't have a contacted email or anything linked to your account, so it's just guesswork. We'll have some like separate page that you go to and like enter a contact detail of any kind. You know, it doesn't have to be like home address, phone number, da 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 da. Just be an email, and then we'll take it from there. Always remember to keep commenting and liking and all that good jazz, and by all means, keep sending me pictures of cars that you've built. You know, I love looking at that stuff. I love talking to you guys and seeing what you're coming up with. So, so thank you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye. And as always, this video has been made possible by the generous folks over at Camsil Designs. If you want 10% off your order, just enter the code JH Miniatures. That's capital J, capital H, capital M, Miniatures. So enter that code for 10% off your next order. Thank you, Wasteland.